Hello, and for this video, welcome to the kitchen, not the brewery.
Well, I've got another brew going on in the brewery, and I regularly make for the wife and sometimes the kids some low alcohol ginger beer that I thought people might find quite interesting. So, first stage, a food processor, I have an awful lot of ginger. All I'm going to do is slice up all that ginger and throw it into the pan, plus basically a bag of sugar, which gives you gravity in 20 litres. I should be able to work it out. I can't remember in my head. It's pretty low. So a starter would have twice of that. It comes out at 1039, so this will come out about 1020 odd. Makes about 2%, 1.5% alcohol, which is basically a soft drink. So I'll get going and I'll show you some more in a minute. Okay, so there's the first bag of ginger, sliced up and ready to go into the pan. I think I've got slightly more than usual. My usual target's about 1 kilo of ginger. I mean, it is a lot of ginger, but it's fairly cheap. So I'll probably put most of the next bag in. A bit of extra doesn't do any harm, and then we'll see where we get to from there. Right, ginger, kilo sugar, a few teaspoonfuls of yeast nutrient, all chucked into a pan. This is the point I consider whether I'm going to add a bit of extra chilli to it for a bit of extra kick. I usually will add a shake of cayenne or two, just to make sure it's nice and spicy. Right, all the ginger and the sugar and the yeast nutrient, and in this case a touch of chilli sauce because that's a cayenne, are in the pan and heating up. Fire going well. Now with ginger beer, there are as many recipes for ginger beer as people actually make it. This is my version. Some people have malt in it, some people don't. Some people have all sorts of other bits and pieces, but this one's nice and simple and seems to go down rather well. You try and have a keg on wherever possible. Right, we'll leave this for the moment and put the lid on and wait for it to come up to the boil. Another quite useful tool is this quick register culinary thermometer. I also use this for barbecue, so you can see there's a piece of charcoal I've managed to melt into it already, but this will allow you to get a good accurate reading relatively quickly compared to most other thermometers, digital ones in particular. So we're coming up not even vaguely to temperature, so that's going to be a while before it comes to the boil, and we'll come back to that later. Okay, so while the ginger beer comes up to the boil, I'm just going to talk briefly about the fermenter I'm going to use. So, previous batch I did in a bucket. Unfortunately I left that for a bit too long, and over the summer some flies got into it, so I had an interesting case of mould on the top by the time I came around to bottling it, so that one got dumped. So this time I'm going into a wine fermenter just for a bit more safety. This is a full size 20 litre one, which I usually use to make mead, but I think it'll be a bit more secure because there are quite a few flies around still at this time of year, even though it's now wet and rainy outside. Okay, and here's the slightly cobbled together way of getting ginger beer into a fermenter with a relatively narrow neck. So we have a funnel, we have a colander, and hopefully I can hit most of the middle, goes most of the way up the sides. Get most of it in that way. We'll see how it goes shortly. Okay, the boiled ginger, sugar and stuff, it's in the fermenter. Time to top it up to about 20 litres. Let it cool down, get some yeast in it, and see where we go. Now, yeast, this is going to be a little bit interesting because I realised I hadn't bought any more dry yeast, so the only one I've got left lying around, well, I've got 3. I've got this, which I think I'm going to use, a saison yeast and a lager yeast. I think this is probably the most sensible one. It should taste quite interesting. We'll see how it comes out. Okay, so the ginger seems to have come out at just about 10-18 or so. It's almost the finishing gravity of most of my beers, but that's the aim, is to keep this as low as possible. So it's all now ready to go. Pitch the yeast when it's down to temperature. It's still a little bit too warm, and hopefully that'll be ready in about a week.